I'm Tom McCown over here, and I'm a cool cat. I'm not only a cool cat, I'm a cat.
You need help.
She walked through the forest with ribbons in her hair, picking up the trillium. Is it laid everywhere?
The whole history of the band has been very interesting.
8 years ago, Tom came to a bunch of musicians and said he was kind of having these feelings like he wanted to start writing music again.
I hadn't written for a number of years, you know, after having kids, and I kind of burnt out on the music scene.
I hadn't been in music for 20 years.
I'd worked on getting a record deal for such a long time. My whole idea for my entire life has always only been music. I had no plan B.
So I went home to my husband and I said, is this time for me? Is this time for me to do something that I've always wanted to do, which is write music? And he said, go for it. The next week, I went with the same group of musicians, and I said to Tom, yeah, I'd be interested.
When she finally decided that she wanted to work with me, I was kind of surprised at first. I'd worked with a female singer back when I did have a recording contract, and it was nothing but trouble. It was a terrible experience. Because it was the whole diva complex thing, you know? So when Heather decided that she wanted to do this, I thought, okay, we'll try it.
Like 2 weeks or so after that, I went over to the studio and I came in here and I like squealed. I was like, oh my gosh. There was all this gear here. There was a piano and there was your recording equipment and mics, and I was like, this is a complete playground.
And the first day she was here, I remember it so distinctly, and she squealed, and I thought, I can work with her.
Tom McCown. It's pretty intense, very, very creative, highly talented.
Heather's nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble.
He has a desire to have our music actually be presented in the way that it was born. Probably one of the most all-around talented persons that I have ever met.
A great friend. She's become one of my closest friends. She's the only person in my life that I've ever actually written songs with on a one-on-one basis. I've never done that with anyone else. She's a good kind of trouble, I guess.
When it comes to putting together the music, he not only can play the music, but he can produce the music, he can mix it, he can master it if he wants to do it.
Over the years, we've built up a trust with each other that has enabled us to come in with the lamest of all ideas and still not laugh at each other and say, well, let's give it a shot and see what happens. And sometimes there's gold in that.
What we hope to do in this album, this fourth album, is to really draw near to people and where their hearts and minds might be at the moment, so it can have a real strong connection.
There's multiple songs on this CD that I know when we were writing them, and we'd write some words, we'd both start weeping. Heather would say, well, what's going on? And I'd have to say, give me a minute, because I couldn't finish the idea because it struck me so personally and so deeply that I knew that there was something magical about what was going on for the CD.
And after a while, we started thinking about putting together a band. This is why Jim came into the picture.
We continued to work with Jim. Through Jim, we met Tony, the bass player, and through Tony, we met Jeff, and it all started pulling together.
They really bring their gifts to what we do and make it come alive for audiences.
It's always a struggle to get people to do, you know, exactly what you want them to do, but sometimes they don't give you exactly what you wanted, but it was better than what you wanted. And sometimes you go, wow, I would have never actually thought of that part, but that's actually kind of a cool part. And so then they've added their little piece into this puzzle, and this puzzle becomes even more beautiful than it was before.
You know, we may argue, we may have disagreements or whatever, but that's family, you know.
We've had a lot of laughs as a band. We were getting into a song, And I yelled back something to Jim, very clearly, very straightforward.
I heard what Tom said, so I was standing right by him when Jim said, gosh, we got to talk about something serious because, you know, we can't treat each other like that on stage. I was like, what are you talking about?
And I thought, you know, everything's good. Now we're back on track. And the song carried on. We got finished with the show. Everything was good. And after the show, he was really angry at me. And he's like all over me about, you can't be talking to us like that.
And he was so serious and so sensitive. He's like, you know, you've really got to be up there supporting each other on stage.
You have to be encouraging. You can't be saying that kind of stuff on the stage. It like unnerves me. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I was like, Jimmy, you better tell us what's going on because I didn't hear any of what you thought that he said.
And he said, what you said to me on stage, you can't say that. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, Jim. What did you hear me say?
And when he said, shoot me in the temple, I was like, I died laughing. I was just so, I was overcome.
He said, I heard you say, you're going to shoot me in the temple. And I'm like, I never said that. I said, make sure you have the right tempo. And we went back and forth because he was sure that he heard me tell him that I was going to shoot him. And I'm like, I would never shoot anything.
It was just amazing that he thought that.
The one thing that we always talk about is that we're on an adventure. And so whenever we talk with the band guys, we always say, you know, thank you for coming on our adventure with us. Heather is kind of like an oracle, and she always sees the future, and I don't see the future very well at all.
Ah, the future. Look at my crystal ball. Gosh.
I have this huge dream, not to be some superstar, but just that our music could be heard by people that it can touch, and that we might be able to tour the world playing small theaters, you know, playing for 500 to 1,000 people a night. I'm completely satisfied with that.
I see just some incredible, miraculous things happening. I am a firm believer in almost anything happening, and I like to plan for wonderful things to happen and move in that direction.
Music is extremely, extremely personal to me.
Well, music for me is in my blood. Like, that to me is something that comes out of my bone marrow.
It's in my soul. It's each of these pieces of music that we write, I view them as children, and you want your children to be all that they could possibly be.
I love creativity in music. I love to encourage people through music.
We just want to be known as great writers.
If I could leave the audience with one thing, it would be that I could instill a moment for them, a memory. Either it brings back a memory or it gives them a memory so that they come back to the song again. And in that going back to the song, they relive the memory, and maybe they have some healing for something that they went through, or the emotion that they had during that, in that moment, that memory, that it would encourage them in some way. So it's more about healing and encouraging and giving people hope. It's not written just for me anymore. It's written for you as the audience. And that's super important for us.
I just really want to have a connection with people that are affected by our music and that are really into it and looking forward to what we come up with next.